to 90% Native. My name is Michelle and I garden in Northern Virginia in Zone 7A. Today I am going to tell you how I use crushed up eggshells in my garden. We eat a lot of eggs in my family, so I have a lot of eggshells that can be used in the garden. I used to take eggshells and just, maybe crush them in my hand and throw them in the compost, and I was done with it. I'd give them a little rinse first. But I've been doing some reading, and from what I've read, people are now saying that if you just throw eggshells into compost when they're large like this, it's going to take an extremely long time to get any of the goodness out of the eggshell into your garden soil. So what I've been doing is I have been grinding my eggshells into a very, very fine powder. There's a lot of information out there about how calcium can benefit different types of plants like tomatoes or broccoli, celery, apples, lots of different fruits and vegetables out there that benefit from having calcium in the soil. For my purposes, I'm mainly grinding up the eggshells into a fine powder so that I can add it to my compost to just make that compost a healthier growing environment. And earthworms need grit to aid in their digestive process. So finely ground eggshells can help the earthworms where that is concerned. My family eats a lot of eggs during the week, so what I do is I just collect the eggshells in an old egg crate or an old egg carton or a bowl, and I leave them in the refrigerator until I'm ready to process them. When I am ready to process the eggshells, I lay them out on a baking sheet and I put them in the oven. So what I do is I just try to separate any eggshells, and then I place them facing downward on the baking sheet so that if there's like anything left in them, that it'll just kind of drip out. Sometimes that isn't always possible. Or you can kind of break them up a little bit too. And this can go in the compost too. So I will break this up into little pieces and put this carton into my compost. So once I have all the eggshells laid out on a baking sheet, I will put them in the oven on 225 for 40 minutes. And the reason why I put them in the oven so that they can grind into that really nice fine powder, and also to kill any salmonella that might be in these eggs. So if you go on the internet and you look up temperatures and length of time to dry out and heat up these eggshells, you might find some different information. I do I heat these up on 225 for 40 minutes because I put the eggshells right into the oven. I don't wait until the oven's preheated, so I figure just put them in there, put them in for 40 minutes, and then it will kill all the germs and everything will be really nice and dried out. Okay, so when I take the eggshells out of the oven, I will put them on top of the stove and let them sit there until they cool down. Once they're cooled down, I will either grind them up or I will just put them aside and grind them later. So that's what I've done here. I use a magic bullet to grind up the eggshells, and so I just have one of their large cups with eggshells that have been previously baked, and I smash them in there, put the grinding mechanism on the top, and then I'm ready to grind these eggshells when I have time. So now I'm ready to grind my eggshells in my magic bullet, which I have right here. And so I'm just gonna put that on. And then I'll shake it up a little bit, put it on again. I may do this a few times because I do want to get this really nice and ground up. Some powder in the air. And then in here is the ground up eggshell powder. Okay, and then my final step is I put the finely ground eggshells into a canning jar, and I will keep that into my refrigerator until I'm ready to throw it in my compost or throw it on my garden beds. There you go. So tell me, do you all use eggshells in your garden beds, or is there any other food remains or food leftovers that you use or find beneficial in your garden? If so, share in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But other than that, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and if this content appeals to you, please consider liking and subscribing and sharing with your garden friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you again next time.